Story begins with Danby, a high school senior in her final year. She's just a few days away from taking her university entrance exams. But the problem is, she's terrible at math. She always falls asleep during math class, which annoys the teacher so much that one day he calls her to the board. But as usual, she can't solve anything. Frustrated, he scolds her in front of everyone. When she returns home, she ignores her studies and spends her time playing with her phone and listening to music. On the day of the exam, Danny wakes up late and runs out already. She tries to study on the bus until she reaches the exam center. She jumps off the bus and runs, but fear takes over. She isn't ready. She starts panicking. She sits under the pouring rain, heart sinking, silently, wishing she could just disappear. There's a shallow puddle in front of her formed by the rain. She steps closer to it, and suddenly, she enters an ancient era. She notices a group of people dressed in unusual clothes, all gathered and praying for rain. The king, seeing her strange behavior, becomes terrified and yells, asking if she's a demon. She nervously says, "No, I'm just a high school student." Suddenly, guards surround her with swords drawn. When she realizes the swords are real, she panics and improvises, saying, "I know why I'm here. Please, God, send the rain." She escaped and kept going until she reached a place filled with ceremonial clothes. She disguises herself as one of the temple priests and sneaks into a gathering with the king. Danby secretly slips out of the meeting and goes to look for her phone, but she gets caught again. King declares that she should be executed immediately. She tries to convince him that she knows a lot about history and math. Intrigued, the king postpones the execution and tells her to prove it. He gives her a Pythagorean theorem problem. She solves it quickly. The king is amazed. He says his own scholars usually take 3 days to solve such a problem. From that moment on, everyone starts treating Danny as Gosam, a male scholar. The king gives her a mission: teach math to the people. If she succeeds, he'll let her return home. But he's the first student, and she's shocked to discover he doesn't even know how to count. She patiently begins teaching him from the very basics: numbers, addition and subtraction, all the way up to multiplication. One day, the king notices Danny is starving and invites her to eat with him, but she doesn't like the food and takes him to the kitchen. Using ingredients from her bag, she makes him some delicious instant noodles. He loves them, even though they're spicy. He was amazed at how much knowledge she had. He started seeing her as a brilliant scholar. So he asked her to teach all the royal scholars of Joseon, not just math, but everything from science to agriculture.